And welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We sit down and do this episode after the Boston Bruins victory over the Philadelphia Flyers, 4-1. On what night of the week is this, Razor? Is it a Tuesday?
It is Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. Tuesday night.
Still know what day it is.
Yes, it's one of those weeks already. A couple empty net goals at the end. Brandon Bussi gets the start and the finish. He gets the victory. The Bruins with a nice effort. We'll touch on that quickly in a moment. But again, welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. And we are privileged to be brought to you by the podcast, brought to you by Fazenda. Fazenda as our lead in-pod sponsor is nothing but tremendous. And let's tell you a little bit about Fazenda. Fazenda Coffee, well, they power some of Boston's best cafes and restaurants with their exceptional coffee. And they've got a wholesale program that is designed to help your business serve the perfect cup every time. Whether you're looking for a custom coffee program or full service equipment support, they have got you covered. Learn more and join the list of top tier cafes that trust Fazenda at fazendacoffee.com/wholesale. Razor, you can also go to fazendacoffee.com/morning brew. Check out the morning brew blend. And in a couple of weeks, my friend, if you're looking at us on YouTube, you see these sweet looking lids that we've got going. It's going to take a couple of weeks. The order is being placed. Actually, it has been placed. It needs to be confirmed, but these hats are coming. The hats, the Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor hats, are going to be distributed by the people at Fazenda Coffee.
It's go time.
Yes, so we're going to have them there. So, we will let you know, folks, in a couple of weeks when they are ready and they are there. So, thank you, Fazenda Coffee, and check them out. All right, Razor. We got to dive right into it. Let's get it over with. All right, even though the Bruins played well and everything, we haven't sat down and chat since the whole Monday Bruins management coaching press conference, the discussion on Jeremy Swayman, the comments made by Bruins president Cam Neely regarding the 64 million reasons to play, and then the rebuttal from Louis Gross, the agent representing Jeremy Swayman. Is this, I don't know if regular is the right term. Is this just part of the process, my friend? Is this what it is, or did at the time did it kind of make your ears perk up a little bit more when that happened?
Yeah, both. It is. I think it is part of the process. I think it's the circumstances around this one. This was part of the process, probably necessary. But there's no doubt my ears perked in a big way when the question was asked to Don, and Cam halfway through the answer says, "I was surprised." Like, that was perfect. It was It was perfect. It was exactly why I think this Bruins Nation loves Cam Neely, because that's who Cam is, and he loves this organization and wants it to do really well. He's got a lot invested here. I think, but I think back to like the whole process of the negotiation and where they're at, I think this was kind of necessary. Probably not as necessary to have it happen in the media, but that's just what it is. Like, and we touched on it a little bit on TV tonight, but for the agent to come and say, "Well, usually I don't negotiate in the media, etc." Well, how is their side getting put on every podcast for a while?
No. Yeah, Jeremy put himself out there too, and he did.
And Jeremy did
talk
it.
about
he
it.
did his own media on his own. So we're in the world where media is always being used. It just is. Mm-hmm. It's not a. It's no surprise that it's the same five guys that break the news in hockey. Well, guess who has those agents' numbers? It's that's how it works. That's how all of this works. So, I think Cam got a little, was frustrated by where they're at and what's happening and how their side was getting the voice, and he took the opportunity when his mic was on.
Does this hurt negotiations? Does it help negotiations in the sense of that maybe it provides a reset? Is that what it perhaps does? I think it does, maybe I'm hoping that it does provide a reset where sometimes people have to take a step back in a relationship and say, okay, I don't like this, but I understand I did that, and let's figure out how to get to the ultimate goal.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. I think initially you're thinking, "Oh boy, this could," of course, everyone blows it up. This could be big trouble. And I think 24, 48 hours later, everyone sits back and everyone said what they needed to say, but it gives everyone a reason to talk a little bit more. And I think it also reinforces where everybody is, right? Like you can have the phone call every 3 days and this is what we're doing, and you can hear it from Dawn, you can hear it from your agent, you can hear it, but when the principal points are saying it in front of everyone, yeah, initially it's a shock, but a couple days later you can process and say, okay, how do we fix this? This isn't, let's make this better. And I think it will. I think it closes the gap rather than widens it. That's how my feeling is 24 hours later.
You hope that that's the case. You hope
Yeah.
that whether it's calmer heads, cooler heads, more rational heads, you hope that prevail. You hope that anything through the media is over with, right? From both sides. You know what I mean? Like you don't want any more of that. You want it completely on the down low. You want to get this done. And I think the reality, I know the reality is, and the Bruins have said this, is that the Bruins are a better team with Jeremy Swayman, and they still want him. And I hope that Jeremy Swayman still says that he still wants to play for the Boston Bruins. I mean, that's something that, the comment by his agent, Louis Gross, at the end, and I'm paraphrasing, talking about, we will take a couple of days to, reassess where we're at, so to speak. You hope that's just a calming down, a way of cooling things off, right? And then say, okay, where are we at on this? And that we haven't gotten too, dug in. If I keep thinking in my head, when I think of dug in, it's the old, you're at the beach and you're a little kid, you start digging a hole. And like, I think I've used this analogy before, where your legs are into the sand and you have a little hard time getting them out. But the next thing you know, your friend's got you all the way dug into your neck and you can't get out. And it's a pretty scary feeling, right?
Correct.
You've literally dug in, and let's hope that we're not at that point, that you're not overly dug in from either side, Razor. That's where I hope. I just want it to get done. I do know. I'm still bullish on this team. I am, and hopefully that this is something that makes it happen.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right, and it almost all. I mean, very, very, very few cases in the entire history of the league where it doesn't. You just need these kind of pressure points to realize where everyone's at.
I know we already talked about your 2006 holdout.
Yeah.
Were there more holdouts? I feel like there were.
Yeah, because no one got paid back then. We had to hold, like, we had nothing. Like,
right.
The young guys just didn't get paid like they do now. It's crazy.
So we didn't have the media coverage.
No.
We heard of some negotiation through the we'll call it traditional press. But that was different. Do you know of, and you don't have to give me specifics if you don't want to go, but was there anything that got really ultra? There must have been some that got ultra contentious. Must have. I'm just forgetting them right now.
Well, you had Yashin, right? Yashin was like a big one. I remember that being a huge. He held that. He might have went. Patrick Lalime. Remember Patrick Lalime went to the IHL. That was a big one. I remember him doing that in Pittsburgh, and that's how he ended up in Ottawa, because he waited the whole year.
Right. And they had to have gotten contentious. We just probably didn't. We didn't hear about as much. We didn't have any podcasts then.
No, that's right. And even this, like this, again, it's probably, this ended up being out there, but who knows if they've even, like when I was doing mine, I had a conversation with Mike O'Connell that was, I don't know if Cam and Jeremy actually have talked together, so
right.
If this is just maybe like contentious for
a culmination
all of us, and
right.
it just came up, but
right.
contentious is when you actually are sitting in the room and you look across the table and you tell the general manager, to beat it. That's really contentious, right? So I'm sure a lot of that happened, and still does, a lot less, just the way the system works, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lalim and Yashin's a big one. I mean, Eric Lindros, you could talk about his, what
right.
he did. That stuff was all crazy. Imagine if we had social media and Eric Lindros was not going to go to Quebec City.
Oh, I know.
That would have been something else.
That would have been. Yeah.
So we put a bow on this one, right?
Right.
I think as we've gotten 30 hours away, I'm feeling better than I did the minute after it happened.
And if you believe the reports that are out there, if you believe them, if they're accurate, that they're somewhat close between high 7s and mid 8s, then maybe it can get done. Regardless, that'll be our chat on it. We hadn't touched on it, so let's just say that we did that, and we both hope that it gets done right. We can discuss the contract when it is signed, because there's no point discussing it right now. But again, let's get that done into the fold. Hopefully it will. All right. Let's talk about just a couple of quick things here. We'll stick with goaltending. Brendan Bussi got the start, the full game. You've got to imagine against Philly on Tuesday. I'm going to guess, without knowing though, I'm going to guess that Korpisalo may get, he's getting one of the next two. I mean, the question is, does he want the one in Quebec, or does he want the one in Washington on Saturday, closer to live game action on Tuesday? I'm going to guess, you're the former goalie, but I'm going to guess he would want the one on Saturday, as close to a Tuesday start as possible. Maybe he doesn't want to get on the bird, so to speak. I mean, he's got to get travel regardless, but I'm guessing the lineup will be different in Quebec than it will be in Washington. So that's probably another reason why maybe Bussi gets another start and he gets another opportunity, because the kid needs more NHL live action.
Yeah, I think they want to load him up. I think, Mikey DiPietro's done a nice job, and he's been, he was the Black Ace last year. He did his thing. He's gotten an extra, week of training camp at this point. But you got to believe that they want to give Bussi as many minutes as they can, just in case.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know though. I don't know Korpisalo. You can go both ways on the Saturday start. Yes, they're flying out Monday, so maybe if he just gets his work in Thursday, has a nice couple work days, and then gets on the plane Monday, that's good. 5 o'clock on Saturday, so it's personal preference. Personally, it could be anything. But we're going to see Korpisalo play 60 more minutes at some point.
Right. Okay. Bussi's game was better.
Correct.
It looked better.
It
was his best game yet.
Yeah.
Encouraging.
Yeah.
As I said on NESN post game, my uneducated eye looked more fluid. His body looked a little bit bigger than it had. I felt at times in the first couple of showings, Razor, that he was kind of I don't know, smaller or all over a bit. But it looked better to me, and so that's encouraging. And I mean, look, we know there's an obvious chance you're going to actually have to use them early on in the season. There's a lot of games early in October.
There is, and they all matter and they all count. And tonight was a big game for him, so I was really happy for Bussi, because there's a lot of pressure. The preseason doesn't provide a lot of guys pressure. We had Trent. We've talked to Trent, and he talked about being. But the reality is, it's not real nerves. But that tonight is like a big one after what happened the last couple of days with what we just talked about in the goaltending position, and Bussi going in there with a full Bruins lineup, a full Bruins defense behind him. If you lay an egg there, causes big problems for you. Yeah, and that. Again, I've played those games where that there's a lot riding on it personally, and no one really kind of cares, but everyone does care, and everyone's watching you, everyone's critiquing every little play and how you handle things. And so I'm happy for him that he got the win. I'm happy that he he fought off a tough game because he didn't get a lot of action. The other guy was pretty good down at the other end and kept
Erskine
his team
good.
in it. So that's he feels good right now going home and hanging out. So, or back to the hotel, I guess, which he's still doing. So, good one. But I think it's very obvious that it's not the same as having two guys who are in the top 10 winning Jennings trophies. Like you're going back to that. We have a young guy that is learning every single day, and it's how you kind of project him at this point.
I don't know if this is a good question, but I'll ask it. Or makes sense question. Working with a goalie that catches with the right hand versus the left hand, how different do you think it is for a goalie coach? How different is it? And so I'm asking about specifically Bob Ascens's, I guess, instruction. How different do you think it is for him? How does it change things at all? I mean, am I over-analyzing it? I mean, he's not the only guy that catches that way, obviously, but I guess just does it make a big difference for teaching Bussi what you want him to learn?
I know. It looks different, right? No, and it isn't a terrible question. I haven't. It doesn't change what you're teaching. It doesn't change the basics or the simple premise that goalie Bob has or any goalie coach has. It does look different though. And as we know, perception is life. And what you see and what you perceive is what you believe. So that is something that the goof left hand full right guys deal with a little bit, because it just looks different. But I think, like, when we talk about all the things that goalie Bob's talked about with Allmark and recoil, all those things, exactly, recoil. that is all that's all irrelevant of hands. It's just kind of what you see. But it is something that I don't like, because again, I've been on the ice with Bussi a lot, like when he was in college, and I didn't teach him differently, but it looks different than someone that catches.
It definitely does. It's funny how different. It's amazing how
it really changes things.
It does. It does. Like it's, for me, it's even, like a lefty golfer looks different, but a goalie that catches the other way, it looks even more different to me. It just does.
I mean, and maybe we're true. I don't know if this is completely fair, but it's hard to take them seriously until they make a bunch of saves.
Yeah.
Right. Like it kind of like, and Bussi's already done that. Like these guys, the guys that are, but Charlie Lindgren, same idea. Like Washington's got two of them that are catching the wrong way: Logan Thompson and Charlie Lindgren. I don't remember the last time that's happened. Yeah. It takes a little bit longer to really like watch it and feel good about it.
Yeah, it does. You're right. It always looks to me, it looks like their saves are bigger an awful lot. They're, I don't know if they're more athletic or they just look more different.
Yeah.
Let's run through a couple of players in the lineup here. And we'll talk about our sponsors quickly and we'll wrap it up. It feels like this lineup, assuming everybody's healthy. And by the way, we were told that Brad Marchand is just an illness, a little bug that he left after the first period in the game. Hopefully he's okay. You'll hear this pod will come out Wednesday morning. You'll probably get an update by Wednesday afternoon. Although I think the Bruins are off on Wednesday. I think they are. So maybe not till Thursday.
They get so many days off. It's wild.
Now they do. Yeah, you didn't. You're jealous.
Oh,
I don't know are you more jealous of the money the guys are making now?
Honestly, it might be. It's honestly the day off. It really is. Like, I'm as a backup goalie, the last couple of years of my career, it's the days off that I'm more jealous of. Honestly.
I'll bet. Yeah. But it kind of feels like that this roster is set in the sense of 13 forwards. So would you agree with that? And I thought Cole Koepke continues to play well. I mean, could he make an argument to be the 13th guy? That would mean that most likely no Tyler Johnson. So are we, is it Tyler Johnson who had a really good performance on Tuesday night, stepping up, getting some more opportunity after Brad went out after the first period?
It was an yes, and yes to all of that. Yeah, the fly in the ointment after, like, on my drive home tonight, thinking about it was, okay, why did Poitras not play tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Where does that land?
Mm-hmm.
That's and we talked about it kind of pregame, but we didn't really we neither one of us really talked about it during the game, and we went through the lineup, and Tyler Johnson plays really well, and you keep thinking about, okay, he kind of he is Danton Heinen-esque
Mm-hmm.
for this group in that he can play all the way through the lineup, and you can ask him a bunch of things. So why did Poitras not play? Jones isn't in the lineup yet. Okay, so what's the out? Because there is one out if you start adding all of that up. And I don't have an answer to that question. It was just something that was kind of in my head when I was driving home tonight. So because I love the lineup, I really like the first line. It's going to line up really well. Like that works. And then the bottom six is really good now, right?
Seems like it. I mean,
Wherever they go with it.
Yeah, I really want to see Max Jones out there because I think that he will complement with his speed.
Yeah.
A fourth line. Now it's lefty. He would be on I'm assuming he would play the offside. I will fully admit I know Max Jones. I know his game. I don't know if he can play the offside, so I will have to investigate that. But the speed that he and Beecher could have on flanks with Mark Kastelik in the middle, I mean, holy smokes.
Cool. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
and big. I mean,
yeah.
you're talking two guys that are 6'3", 215, and then you're I think even Jones maybe even a little heavier, and then you got Mark in the middle who's 6'4", 215 or whatever. I mean, those are hello,
Yeah.
so it's very interesting. I guess this is a long way of getting to the ultimate question is, have we already basically solidified the lineup? I do understand what you're saying about Poitras. I don't know why he didn't play. Was it to give Koepke another game there, an opportunity there to show that? Maybe they want to see what he looks like if Jones isn't ready to go, type of thing. You play him on that right side on the fourth line. But do you think Tyler Johnson has already done enough? Or is it still not about his performance, but about where all the people fit, the salary cap, et cetera? Do you think that that's still the factor?
Yeah, I think that's the factor. I don't think. I think he's done enough to prove that he's got himself ready to play an NHL season. He's got 420 goal seasons. He got 2 rings. He just had to come here and kind of prove that he was really into it. But now it becomes, okay, what was the plan to piece him in, to have him on a PTO, to bring him in here as long, and again, you don't bring a guy in on a PTO with 2 Stanley Cup rings without somewhat of a plan if it kind of looks right. And I feel like it kind of looks right. So what's the plan? And that's what I'm curious about at this point.
Yeah, me too. But it feels like, at least to me, it feels like it's happening.
Correct. Right. It really does. Like it really, that's it. Like when you get that guy and you, unless he really stinks, and if he does really stink, and we've seen it here, but it happens around the league all the time, that guy gets cut right away because the agent, the player wants an opportunity to go somewhere else. So they don't string them along all the way through waivers if you're not going to do something with them.
Yeah. I would agree about that. That's why I feel like, especially with tonight's show, that it's happening. When that I can't answer.
Yeah.
Let's quickly tell people about our sponsors that help make this show significantly possible, or I would say significantly help make this show possible. It's Late Night Talking. I've actually already taken a bit of a sleep gummy, so I'm starting to get tired.
Oh, well done.
Here. I know this could be even a better show.
Let's drag this one out and see what happens.
Imagine I took a full one, not just a half. Let's tell you about Sparks, something that is a phenomenal company that has been very kind to both Razor and to me. And we really appreciate their participation on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. And this is pretty cool. Razor, this year, it's official. They are now the official partner of the Boston Bruins. The Bruins equipment staff has now as a setup of 2 Spark sharpeners at both the practice rink at Warrior and at the TD Garden. And so that's very, very cool. Sparks is the #1 skate sharpener at home in hockey. And there's over 100,000 units on the market. Use the code BREW50, BRU50 to save $50. They always have great deals going on too on their website, sparkshockey.com. Make sure to check them out. It is the best and you will not regret it. Speaking of the best, if you're looking to buy or sell or lease a place, go check out RTN Realty Advisors. Chris Gentile and his group of salespeople there, agents, are fantastic. They are very, very caring, personable. They're all over different communities around Massachusetts. rtnrealty.com is the place to go, or email. You can email Chris directly at cgentile, Gentile, at rtnrealty.com. And you can ask for a meeting. You can ask or take a look online and see what they've got going. Check out rtnrealty.com. You will be very happy with that. And lastly, Razor, Graciano Construction. If you already have a house and you want to remodel it, you want to refresh and revitalize your space, Graciano Construction is a proud partner, sponsor of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor this season. We are thrilled to have them along. Bathroom remodeling, kitchen remodeling, additions, painting, deck installation. We've used them for numerous projects. They are fantastic to deal with. Go to gracianoconstruction.com and contact them. They're on there on the website too. You can contact them. Their main number, 508-330-7589. So thanks to all of our sponsors for participating in this. And Razor, coming up on Sunday, you and I are going to sit down our next Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We're going to sit down Sunday and do a season preview show. We are going to, it's going to be a meaty one. It'll be a solid 45 to an hour. We're both going to have our Fazenda Morning Brew blend or some type of Fazenda coffee ready, and we are going to talk about the Bruins, their lineup. I don't know exactly who's made it by then, but we'll have a better idea. The Bruins have 2 games between now and then. We'll also just quickly look in the Atlantic and the East and just talk about that. We'll give you a season preview show, and that's the official start of the season for Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor as we get going. All right, real quick, you mentioned the top line, Elias Lindholm in the lineup, a little unexpected. Thought maybe it would be Thursday and then maybe Saturday. Looked solid. It looked like his first game, right? He did some good things. Explain to people, there was a lot of talk from you and me, but also from Brick about the right shot and the bumper on the power play. Why, in your opinion, let's just quickly chop it up here a bit. Why is it so important for the Bruins to have that?
For me, I'm curious. You'll have more of an intel on this, I think, than I will. But I think for me, it just frees David Pastrnak up. Mm-hmm. That's the easiest way to put it, because everything is going to happen back over from on the left side. Right? From a goalie's position, it's over on my left. From an offensive side, it's over on the right side, which again allows David to kind of roam over on the other side of the ice. You can set up a righty with 2 lefties, which we saw Tyler Johnson score the seam pass. Mm-hmm. Zacha that can be Marchand to Zacha. That can be Marchand to Pasta, even though, again, Pasta's a righty, but he can find a puck anywhere. That's easy for him. You have different seam passes available. And because Lindholm has a different touch, right? He just has...
Yes.
He has a different touch than what Zacha does as a big bull over on the other side. They try to use on the other side with Zacha at times. He just has a nice touch and a nice ability. Britt said it, 5-6 foot passes. And that will draw killers over. And then David just allows him to open up and find a lot of ice over on the other side. So it's it seems so simple, but there's only 15, 20 people on the planet that can work a bumper properly in an NHL power play. Like it's very simple, but it's very
Very
difficult to
difficult.
do.
It's about anticipation. You
Yeah.
really have to be thinking ahead of where the support needs to happen next.
Yeah. It's
Um,
3 plays ahead. That bumper works 3 plays ahead.
ex-
Where's the right defenseman stick right now, and where's it gonna end up if I move it here 3 seconds,
right.
4 seconds from
And
now? That's
I'm
how that,
seeing
it's
right.
crazy.
And I see the puck go towards the wall or towards the corner, and I see my teammate go for it. Where is the best outlet going to be for me to support him, and
Uh-huh.
how quickly can I get there, and this kind of thing. And the other thing, reason why a righty is important, if you're going to have a lefty, is Zaka and Marchand. That's what we assume, right, is going to be out there. You want a righty in the slot. You can get that little, we saw Zaka do the zip pass through the crease or just above it over to Tyler Johnson. Uh, but you really also want to have a right shot, which we saw Bergeron do it often on the inner side of what would be the Bruins' right wing side, where he can get a quick one-timer off too. If it's a lefty, you don't have the one-time capability from that mid-low slot area. So that's something that is important. And as you said, I think Elias Lindholm has the feel, the touch. He's played this bumper position regularly. Last year they tried to implement a few other guys. They tried, they used Charlie Coyle, right? At times. He's a righty too, but it's different. No knock on Charlie. He hasn't done it as much.
Mhm.
So, and Lindholm will do it. So it is important. They look good together. You made the point that Zaka and Pastrnak already have their chemistry going, which is great. I do want to see Zaka continue to elevate his game. And I've already mentioned, I'd love to see him get the 60s, 70 points, really, for me, would be his minimum.
Mhm.
But I'd love to see that. We both liked Mark Kastelik's game. Kastelik, I'm calling him different names all the time. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah.
Kastelik
Oh.
is really good. Really, really good. He does his job the right way, man. He
Mhm.
does that. That was noticeable. Give me your take on Morgan Geekie. Marchand came out and spoke very effusive about him the other day. Feels like I think they want him to start there. And
Yep.
again, we got 2 more games, but I feel like that's where it's leading right now.
You love him as a player, right? There's a consensus that I think we all think that he's a really good hockey player, and if he can play the right way, he had opportunities last season. He had opportunities on the power play. He's continued to elevate,
Mm-hmm.
which is the same idea of Trent Frederick, like kind of in the same
Mm-hmm.
that same boat where you just keep hoping they take another step. And if he gets that opportunity, I think he'll run with it.
I
It's
think
not
it's a
proven yet.
It's not proven, but I do think it's I think since they know him, and he had some time. I think it might be the good way to start the season.
Mhm.
And I know that they are going to mix it up
Yep.
within a game or two and certain things. And we've already talked a couple of times, both here and on Nesson, about how much versatility and variety this team has and how they're going to move things around. And that's it. But I again, just like I feel like Tyler Johnson is going to happen, I feel like Morgan Geekie is going to happen on the right side with Coyle and Marsh to begin, just to begin, and then we'll go from there. Brazeau with another goal. I think the big boy, man, if you can cajole 20 out of him, what a I just I know I'm getting a little excited ahead of
No,
myself, but that would
I
be
don't
great.
think that that's that crazy. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's really fit for the third line. I actually don't think he can play a fourth line role, but I don't think I think it's more optimal in the third line position for
Agreed.
him. Yeah.
Agreed.
So that's where I think that we'll see. But anyways, we'll see a lot of movement around the lineup. All right. So coming up, anything else that we need to touch on quickly? I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I always do. I always forget something.
The D is really good.
The D was good, and we saw their top 6, right? We saw their
Yeah.
top 6 against Philly. Do you have preference on pairs, or is it still too early to tell, or is it a situational game by game thing?
I think it's situational to a point. I like Lindholm, McAvoy, Hampus. Can we
Good.
go Hampus and then we don't do Lindholm twice? I think that's what we
That's
have
fine.
to do.
We
But
can go Hampus.
I think I like Hampus McAvoy.
Okay. I got no issue with it. I mean, it's a big boy pair.
Yep.
It is
a big boy pair. Like it's a big boy D. Like watching that tonight, like holy smokes, that is a stout 6-pack.
So they had Nikita Zadorov and they had Andrew Peeke on the ice late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And does that become your penalty kill / 6 against 5 pair out there that is really what you want? And both those guys are very willing to do the little things that make a difference. So a lot of things to consider, but I again, just like I think up front, we'll see changes. I mean, of course we'll see changes, no shit. But I think that you're going to see Mason Lowry at some point with Charlie McAvoy when they're down a goal in the game. You're going to,
for sure.
You're going to. But no, I liked it. That was good too. Yeah, I thought Hampus's first period was excellent.
Yeah,
excellent, strong, confident, elusive, and very effective in that regard.
And they're all really big.
And they are. And McAvoy being the smallest, still, you could argue, plays as big as Nikita Zadorov at 6'6", 250.
That's right.
He does. Right. He does. You talk to players, and they're like, I can't believe he's not that big because he plays much bigger than that. All right, that's going to wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. Thank you for listening or watching. We are, back on YouTube as well. We will be back after we record Sunday's season preview show. We hope to have that out by Sunday night. I'm not going to make promise, but that's the goal if we can. At the very least Monday. And RC, the guru that he is, will make sure to get that out. And after that, we've got a bunch of shows coming up, folks.